In this Wrestle Talk news, the McMahon family is being torn apart. Jeff Hardy announces his first post-WWE dates, Ollie Davis's review of Monday Night Raw, and more. Subscribe for daily wrestling news and enable notifications to always on to make sure you know when they go live.
Support Wrestle Talk!
It's been a few months now since Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard took over the running of NXT from Triple H, who is still recovering from his cardiac event back in September, and rebranded it to NXT 2.0, moving it far, far away from the vision Trips had for the brand. It was always figured that Triple H running NXT was the training wheels for him to eventually take over from Vince one day. But it's been speculated that the most likely man to succeed McMahon when that day comes is Nick Khan. Nick Khan, who is not a McMahon or part of the McMahon family like Triple H is. And former WWE referee Mike Chioda, who worked for the company for over 30 years, was asked about Triple H joining the McMahon family and whether that got him any heat, which Chioda said he did, most notably from Shane McMahon. Chioda says that Vince Sr., Vince McMahon's dad, didn't want his family dating talent or taking bumps, which of course Vince Jr. went against. He also speculated that Triple H and Stephanie's relationship was a big part of why they fell out and why Shane left for 10 years. He also notes that he has no idea what Shane actually does in WWE anymore and says there's a lot of heat there. It's sad because when I started working for this company, there was Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, and Stephanie McMahon, and now it all seems to be broken apart. All the money in the world probably can't fix it. The family is torn apart at this point, I think. Maybe not torn apart all the way, which I hope not, but it is torn apart. You're tearing me apart, family! Everyone loves references that are 20 years old, right? Speaking of families, and Jeff Hardy appeared on his brother's Twitch stream in his first appearance since his release from WWE last Thursday. He appeared in two Matt Facts segments where Jeff made a joke about listening to Release Me by Wilson Phillips and then teased reuniting the Hardy Boys tag team. He also announced he's doing a meet and greet and acoustic concert tour this week in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Rosemont and Rockford, Illinois, and Des Moines, Iowa. Matt also announced on the stream that his brother is doing well and there's no reason to be concerned, and that Jeff is in the best place and isn't using drugs or alcohol. In fact, he says that he's confident that his brother's drug test will come back clean and WWE may have jumped the gun on releasing him. Some sad news now, as it was announced yesterday that James Guffey, better known to the wrestling world as Jimmy Rave, passed away at the age of 39. Rave was best known for his work in Ring of Honor as part of the Embassy and Scum factions, and in TNA, where he was part of the Rock and Rave tag team with Lance Archer and Christy Hemme. We here at Wrestle Talk would like to extend our love and thoughts to the family and friends of Jimmy Rave. And now, here's Ollie Davis with a word from our sponsor.
Before we get on with the rest of the news, I'd just like to say a big thank you to this episode's sponsor, Surfshark VPN, which you can get 83% off and 4 months free if you go to surfshark.deals/WrestleTalk and use the code WrestleTalk. Surfshark VPN lets you trick your device into thinking it's in another country, which doesn't just make your browsing much safer, it also gives you access to the content libraries from places like the UK, the US, or Japan, which will have movies and series that aren't available in your region. I'm talking streaming services like Netflix, Amazon, BBC iPlayer, and yes, the WWE Network. That's right, if you're in the US and you want to go back to the old WWE Network with all its original content and far superior search and chapter functions, then install Surfshark VPN now to get access to it from outside America. And do so using our links in the video description below. Surfshark.deals/WrestleTalk, or you'll get 83% off and 4 months free if you use the code WrestleTalk. Surfshark have been one of our biggest supporters this last year, so we'd really appreciate if you at least check them out using the link below. Support Wrestle Talk and support your internet privacy with Surfshark. And now it's time for my review of last night's Raw, in about 5 minutes. If you missed last week's episode and were expecting the continuation of the neat three-way feud between Big E, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, let me catch you up. WWE forgot to book anything for Bobby Lashley, so now he's being fudged into the championship match at day 1. But how, might you ask? By beating every other wrestler in singles competition, of course. Definitely not. Raw general managers Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce announced Lashley would be added to the WWE title match if he could defeat KO, Rollins and Big E all in one night. Which sure is a way to build up your big pay-per-view match. Have all the people originally in it lose to one guy. A guy who is a heel, who's been positioned into an underdog babyface role, which doesn't really work for a bad villain. Like, imagine if Daniel Bryan was always in the main event of WrestleMania 30, but Randy Orton had to beat Triple H earlier that night to face him too. And it's also a story that involves pinning your new champion. It's psychologically backwards, fundamentally flawed booking, but hey, it's Raw. What's new? What really gets me down about this is that it's Big E's first major program as WWE champion, and it's not working. It's like WWE have forgotten every lesson they learned pushing Drew McIntyre at the top of Raw last year and have made Big E an afterthought. Through no fault of his own, he feels like a filler champion. But it wasn't just the top babyface champions on the brand getting pinned, everyone else was too. Otis beat tag team champion Riddle in just a few minutes after their angle the previous week for no obvious reason. And US champion Damian Priest lost his tag match when Finn Balor was distracted by Austin Theory taking a selfie, meaning the Dirty Dogs got the win. As for non-champion babyfaces who were beaten up for the heat, Queen Zelina rolled up Rhea Ripley in a minute after Nikki, nowhere near a superhero, accidentally distracted her, and Becky Lynch injured Liv Morgan by squashing her arm in the steel steps, only then agreeing to another title match at day 1 against her. Becky was fantastic as always here, but what sounded like fake crowd noise really took me out of the segment. My brain struggles to accept what's on screen when you can hear loud cheers and boos, but it can't see a single fan moving their mouths. And photos from the arena showed just how empty the stands were, with it being described as a ghost town. Ooh. But not even all the crowd-sweetening tricks on Kevin Dunn's production desk could mask the lynch mob. As when Liv first interrupted Becky, she unfortunately stood right next to a die-hard Becky fangirl who heckled Morgan throughout. In our only babyface victory on a 3-hour show, kind of, Bianca Belair pinned Doudrop after Doudrop just walked out on her last week. It's great seeing Doudrop actually wrestle because she's fantastic. Her facials, her physicality, the way she throws Belair around the ring, making her one of Bianca's most believable opponents. But after mostly being worked over, Belair hit a powerbomb and a 450 splash to win, effectively finishing the feud with a clean pin. But this story must continue, as somehow, despite being in the ring just seconds before, Doudrop attacked Belair from behind on the ramp after the match. Are there 2 Doudrops? 2 drops? The only reason they have left to feud is that Bianca hasn't hit the KOD yet. Thanks for your support on Patreon, The Vision, Adonis, and we'll always mark out for Ollie Landrum. You can get your own shout out at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. WWE played a montage of all the college athletes they've recently signed for their next in line Q Indies program. Veer Mahan is still coming, folks. We got a slightly different video package this week, and as Ace King of Soup pointed out on Reddit, the Veer is coming to Raw vignettes began 49 days ago. For reference, the entirety of Hit Row's main roster run from draft to release was 48 days. AJ Styles cut a backstage promo about how he genuinely wants Omos to succeed in this business, and Omos hugged him. AJ's so turning on him. Reggie tried to ask 24/7 champion Dana Brooke out for a date, but they had to escape R-Truth, Akira Tozawa and Tamina shenanigans. This is bad. We got the latest episode of everyone's new favorite sitcom. This week, Austin showed Vince his selfie, so McMahon asked if he wanted his autograph on a doily. Okay, he wasn't impressed. He said they're not friends because he doesn't have any friends. But you know what? Here's a deadly weapon. It's a pencil, but not the pointy end. He's talking about the eraser. Is Vince trying to send us coded messages? Is this a Free Britney thing? Is everything okay, Vince? Is Nick Khan making you fire more people? And Maurice hosted Miz TV for the special guest, The Miz, who played his own fake Hall of Fame induction promo. Edge came out for a brawl, but Miz pulled Maurice in front of him. Miz laid Edge out, but he had a furious wife to answer to, who slapped him and stormed out. I care less about this feud than I did last week. But the night-long narrative strewn throughout this episode was Bobby Lashley defeating every single member of the WWE Triple Threat. First, Owens tapped before the Hurt Lock was even fully on him. Then Seth briefly won via DQ when KO punched him in the face. A cute spot which led to Rollins losing to a Lashley spear when the match was restarted. So it came down to Big E, which was made a no DQ match, where Lashley didn't use the Hurt Business because it's only a faction in our imaginations. Even though Rollins and KO tried to beat up Bobby, Big E took against this, beating them up, but MVP hit him with the cane and Lashley won with a spear. What did you think of this week's Raw? Let me know in the comments. 72% of you voted for let's beat all our babyface champions in a poll on a poll match on the community tab. The matches felt repetitive. The finishes were unsatisfying. Our favourites got beaten. The booking was fundamentally flawed. This was a long, thankless 3 hours. This week's Raw is a very, very low 2 out of 5. Remember when Karrion Kross got dressed up in a gimp mask? Unfortunately, yes. Relive the 10 most shocking gimmick changes of the year with Adam Blampied.
But it's not just that. 2021 has seen a whole host of WWE stars having their gimmicks tweaked, prodded, poked, shaken up, revamped, retuned, and in some cases taken out behind the bike sheds and shot in the brain. Some of this year's gimmick overhauls have been welcome, some have been fairly uneventful, and oh boy, I'm looking forward to talking about the really bad ones.